All right, guys. So I wanted to give everybody a quick update. So this past weekend, I had a race down in Columbus. It was a 50K. This was like a scheduled race. It's just part of the training leading up to this 100. I wasn't going there like to try to win or anything like that. But I want to give you guys some like crazy good information that I got from that race and just kind of let you guys know where we stand right now. So, one, I know that we talk about a lot of wins, like with all the content that we're putting out and stuff right now. You know, we're talking about good things that are happening for us and all that. This race was not necessarily a win. So I wanted to get on here and just kind of be raw and transparent with you guys and let you guys know like what went wrong, what went right, all that stuff. So starting off, we go down, it's me, Cam, his girlfriend, and my son. We get there, I line up like I'm feeling good. We start the race. This race is a 3.2, I think 3.2 mile loop or something like that. And it's just how many loops can you do in 6 hours? So before the race starts, they tell us that the course record is 12 loops, which means like you have to finish loop every half an hour basically to at least tie the course record. So we start and I get 3 loops in and I look at Cam and I'm like, dude, I think I could like tie or beat the course record. Like the number one rule of ultra running is give yourself time to settle into the race. You're going to feel good. Like just stick to the game plan. Don't get overzealous. Don't let like the rush of the race get to you. Don't start off too hot, whatever. You're going to burn out. I didn't listen because like everybody else, I think that some stuff applies to everybody and then some stuff doesn't apply to me. This stuff is told by people for a reason, just like all the other advice that people give of like, don't grow up too fast, whatever. And people are just like, nah, it doesn't apply to me. It does. So I had to learn the hard way. And I burned through the first 3 loops, goes great. Second 3 loops, I'm like, it's getting a little tough to keep this pace. And sure enough, stuff started hurting. Like I was not able to keep that pace. The other big rule in running in general is you never try anything new on race day. So what did I do? I decided I was going to try new salt packs that I've never tried before. And I was going to bring a brand new pair of running shoes that were like new out of the box, not broken in, something new. So I throw up. I don't remember what loop I was on. I think like 6 or 7. I throw up once, come back, end up throwing up twice. And I put these new shoes on at loop 6. So I'm like, oh, I'm halfway done. I feel like I'm running with 2x4s on my feet. Like it was miserable. But oh, yeah. So also in the midst of all that, because I'm like really pushing to try to keep this pace, I throw up. I get back to like the start line, which is basically like set up like an aid station. And I'm not even sweating anymore. Like, mind you, it's like 90 degrees. I'm drenched on all these loops. Like, I'm sweating like crazy. My sweat had dried up. Like, I don't know if it was just from throwing up and my body being empty or whatever it was. But I take off for a loop and Cam calls me on my watch. And I answer. He's like, dude, it's time to call it. Cut it off. Shut it down. Get back here. I was like, why? What's going on? He's like, because I just looked it up and that's like the first sign of heat stroke. So freaked me out a little bit, but I was like, okay, let me finish this loop. And if I don't start sweating again, then I'll stop. So I finished that loop. By the time I get back, I'm like, look, I'm sweating. All right, I'm good. I don't know what that was, whatever. So the main reasons that I want to talk about this though, is because I easily, like when I realized that I set my goal to tie the course record or break it, I failed. Like within halfway through this race, I had already failed my first goal. Then after putting on the shoes that I thought was going to be like a huge relief for me, they were miserable. Like they were worse than the shoes that I had that had like no padding in them that I wanted to get out of. I could have let that beat me down and stop me. I stopped sweating because I'm throwing up and stuff. Like all of those things were reasons for me to just quit, call it a day, chalk it up, whatever. But the biggest thing was that I just was like, all right, I'm just going to keep pushing through and just see what happens. Like, I'm not going to hit the goal that I set. So I know I'm going to fail. But instead of just letting those losses compound and being like, okay, we'll just chalk the whole day up, I at least just kept going forward. a few years ago, there's no way. Like I would have just been like, day shot, I'm cutting it off, it's done. But I'm telling you guys, I'm not by any means saying that I have it figured out. I have life figured out. I have like the mentalities figured out or whatever. But I've 100% figured out that if you literally just keep pushing forward, it's impossible to really lose. Like you are going to learn something or you're going to succeed. One of the two. Those are your only two options. So I learned not to eat anything new on race day or put anything new in my body that I'm not used to. Don't wear new shoes and don't come out overzealous. So now this next race that we have here in like 2 weeks, it's double the miles and I know what not to do going into that. So I learned something. We still ended up finishing the race and got 9th out of, I think it was like 44 ultra runners or something. So it was still a success. Like I easily could have, just beat myself down about like all the things that went wrong, but I can just look at what went right, be happy that I accomplished my goal of the distance that I wanted to cover, and just move on and let those little wins start stacking up. And I know over time, now when I get to this 100-mile race, I know all the things not to do, and I still have all those miles under my belt that I went through. But the biggest thing was I just wanted to get on here and instead of making a post and being like, oh, hey, look, I finished 31 miles or I did a 50K or what, I got 9th, and not really being transparent about like, but it sucked. And I also failed in all these other places during that run, and showing you guys like even the people that you think have it all figured, like they're failing every day and they're just willing to learn from it and keep going. So that's the recap. We have a race, 100K coming up in 2 weeks up in Toledo. Hopefully we can get on here, do another update for you guys, and have some great news about everything that went right, executing a game plan, sticking to the game plan. But either way, I appreciate you guys just coming along on this journey with us, and hopefully like the things that we're learning, you guys are able to take from it and implement it in your own lives. Appreciate you guys.